housed within the pages of forgotten scrolls and whispered about in hushed tones. There are tales of a relic so full of power and corruption. They speak of a crystalline abomination with its dazzling facade, concealing a malevolence that has echoed through the ages. Welcome to Sleight Hand, where rogues scheme, dice roll, and the mysteries of Dungeons and Dragons unfold. Okay, so in this video we will be taking a look to ages long past, where there existed an evil relic of unparalleled power. An artifact known as Crenshinibon. Now what you need to know is, this relic was a shard of crystal that drew its arcane energies from the sun itself. But this was no ordinary artifact. No, it was a sentient entity, an entity with a boundless appetite for power and glory that knew no bounds. Crenshinibon was an insatiable beast of desire, an artifact of unquenchable ambition. It forever craved a master who would harness its prodigious might, most often a mage tainted by the allure of corruption. With a mere touch, Crenshinibon could amplify the wielder's abilities, setting their power ablaze like a raging inferno. Yet the treacherous crystal was as capricious as it was potent, for it would not hesitate to abandon its pawn if a more suitable champion emerged, one better suited to its grand scheme of ultimate conquest. Its enchantment was a siren song, summoning multitudes of wicked souls to form a malevolent legion under its so-called master. But the tale doesn't end there, for Crenshinibon held within its depths the power to conjure a towering citadel, known as Crenshinibon. To give birth to this towering creation, the shard itself would produce an identical twin, a square crystal aglow with an eerie emerald light. The master would place this duplicate on the ground and recite the incantation, Ipsum Dal Abdur, and then the twin crystal would expand and burgeon, evolving into a titanic crystalline tower that mirrored the malevolence, albeit on a colossal scale. This magnificent bastion drank in the sun's rays, becoming ever more potent with each passing day. Its defenses were nigh impervious, turning the wrath of adversaries back upon them, save for a single vulnerability, the throbbing core of strength that had given birth to the tower, now hidden deep within the heart of Crenshinibon. The tower's entrance remained a secret, concealed from all beings native to the plane it graced with its presence. But alas, Crenshinibon's most potent weapon was its siren's call to vanity and avarice. It ensnared hearts with promises of untold glory and riches, but its beguiling whispers held little sway over the virtuous, over the paladins, the pious priests, the righteous kings, and the noble-hearted peasants. Only those who lusted for more, who willingly embraced deceit and destruction to serve their ambitions, were doomed to be ensnared by the relentless grasp of Crenshinibon. So where did it all start? It began with the handiwork of 7 liches whose ambition was as large as their egos. These undead wizard kings devised a creation to humble the very races they aspired to conquer. Their diabolical masterpiece was designed to siphon its might from the giver of life itself, the sun, as a twisted affront to the races below. In the fabled assembly of 7 liches who birthed Crenshinibon, the first grandfather Wu stood cloaked in eldritch mysteries. His origins traced back to a celestial realm far removed from the realms of Toriel, where he was the prime architect of his own arcane doom. In a grievous misstep, he unleashed a tempest of unruly magic upon his celestial domain, a cataclysmic maelstrom that reaped a devastating toll. 1 billion souls were snuffed from existence, swept away by the very power Wu had foolishly unshackled. Wu emerged from this cosmic calamity, his essence forever tainted by the malevolent forces he had inadvertently unleashed. Weapons imbued with potent enchantments, such as the legendary Cracker and Whacker, crumbled ineffectually before the ancient Lich's might, for he was a specter of supernatural resilience. He would be remembered as the archmage who reshaped worlds with a single cataclysmic gesture, and yet paid the ultimate price for his audacious transgression. As we look deeper into this group of 7 liches, there lived a tribal shaman. This sorcerer of the ancient ways would ascend to become the dreaded Fetchagral, a name that would send shivers down the spine of even the bravest souls. Yet his dark ascension came at a price that would chill even the hearts of immortals, for he craved power beyond reckoning, and in pursuit of his unholy goals, he struck a sinister bargain. To attain his lichdom, Fetchagral bartered the very essence of his homeworld, a realm teeming with countless souls, all to be thrown into a nightmarish fate. Each resident, innocent or guilty, fell prey to the shaman's sinister pact, and their very souls were traded in a transaction that would have made even the foulest demons of the abyss recoil in horror. The third of these liches stood as a faithful servant in the shadowy halls of Shar, the enigmatic goddess of darkness. This humble attendant, known as Zilan, served his divine mistress with unwavering loyalty, a figure shrouded in the obsidian mysteries of her otherworldly realm. As the eons marched on, Zealand's fervent devotion led him on a quest few would dare undertake. He delved into the arcane mysteries of the Shadow Weave. With every incantation and every incense-laden ritual, he plumbed the depths of this esoteric well of power. In his relentless pursuit of knowledge, he unlocked the secrets of the Shadow Weave, becoming one of the very first mortals to wield its potent energies. Yet, Zealand's newfound wisdom was destined to fade, obscured by the veil of ages. The grand knowledge he had unearthed was swept away, vanishing like whispers carried on the wind. The Shadow Weave's mysteries lay buried, hidden from the world's gaze, until the rise of the Shadowvar. The fourth of these liches emerged as the sorcerer of unparalleled might, Rex, whose rise to power knew no equal. He ascended to the throne as the undisputed wizard emperor, reigning over a realm beyond the scope of Toriel. His dominion stretched far and wide, a kingdom steeped in the arcane. His mastery over magic was unrivaled, his influence casting shadows even on the stars themselves. But the allure of lichdom beckoned to him from the netherworld. Rex, driven by a thirst for supremacy, made a harrowing choice that would eternally alter his fate. He willingly forsook his earthly empire, his eminence as a wizard emperor, in exchange for the dread mantle of the Lich. The transition from mortal to undead, from flesh to bone, forever changed Rex. The eldritch transformation imbued him with immortality, an eternal existence that promised boundless knowledge and arcane prowess. However, the price exacted was not without consequence, for the mantle of the Lich bore a heavy crown, one that would gradually unravel his sanity. In the wake of his dark ascension, Rex descended into madness, his thoughts and dreams entwined with the darkest shadows of his own creation. His power remained, his dominion unchallenged, but his mind was shattered, a kaleidoscope of lunacy, a symphony of deranged laughter that echoed through the forsaken corridors of his heart. The fifth of the 7 liches who birthed Crenshinibon stood a figure of malevolence and dread, and was none other than the formidable Argent Black. He was an embodiment of darkness and hatred, a monstrous being, a paragon of evil unchained. Originating from the shadowy abyss of the negative material plane, Argent Black was no mere mortal, but a creature of eldritch origins, a being born from the very essence of hate and darkness. He feasted on the pure, unadulterated energies of malice and despair, drawing his strength from the fathomless well of power that welled within his own black heart. Of the 7 liches who wove the destiny of Crenshinibon, the 6th stood out amidst the shadows, and that name was Vlad Zilhervan, a figure of greed so insatiable that it could rival the very treasures of the gods. He was the embodiment of greed incarnate, a malevolent soul entwined with the ceaseless quest for riches beyond imagination. Among the dark cabal of liches, Vlad was renowned for his truly evil plans, for he would traverse the abyss and the heavens alike in pursuit of his limitless desires. There were no depths too perilous, no measures too insane that he would not undertake to swell his already burgeoning coffers. The very cosmos quaked, for there was no moral code, no law, no boundary that could restrain his lust for wealth. The last of these great liches was none other than a figure known as Somay of Gar, a sorcerer whose quest for immortality transcended the boundaries of time itself. Somay had unearthed a forbidden path to eternal life, one that defied the very course of mortal destiny. It was a pact with darkness, a sinister secret hidden from the eyes of the living. Somay's method of achieving immortality was nothing short of astonishing, a dark ritual shrouded in whispers and dread. As age began to weigh upon his once mighty shoulders, he would seek out young children, innocence untouched by the ravages of time. These tender souls became the vessels for Somay's own life force, vessels into which he would transmute his very essence. In a macabre exchange, Somay's life would merge with the children's, granting him renewed vitality and enduring youth. Yet his transformation into a lich came at a fateful juncture, before the last of his youthful incarnations could mature into adulthood. As a result, Somay became forever frozen in the form of a child, a haunting visage that concealed the depths of his dark wisdom and unyielding power. In the realms of the arcane, Somay found himself entangled in a rivalry of epic proportions, a bitter contest with the lich Fetchagral. Their animosity was the stuff of legend, a clash of dark titans seeking dominion over the legions of the undead. While Somay adopted a peculiar and direct approach, venturing into the forbidding expanse of the Shadowfell to muster his unholy army, Fetchagral preferred to reanimate the fallen, summoning the spirits of the deceased back to the realm of the living. But with these 7 liches, as they completed the dark masterpiece of the Crenshinibon, their own conjuring sorcery consumed them, their very essences obliterated by the sun-like properties of the artifact. The remnants of their evil souls shattered and were devoured by the very relic they helped to create. This unholy creation materialized in the distant realm of Zakara, a tool of unimaginable might. It wielded the power to hurl fireballs and unleash scorching walls of light that could reduce flesh to cinders. Little was known of its sinister past until it fell into the clutches of a wise and just sultan who uncovered the truth. With the assistance of his court magicians, this enlightened leader resolved to complete the work of the Liches, not in pursuit of domination but rather for the sake of peace among his warlike neighbors. The Sultan harnessed the artifact's newfound abilities to raise a forest of crystalline towers, a magnificent defense against incursions into his lands. Yet in his zeal, he pushed the artifact to its limits, creating too many towers. The fragile balance shattered, and a catastrophic sandstorm heralded the invasion of a relentless neighboring sheikdom. The sheik's forces laid waste to the Sultan's kingdom, forcing him to witness the murder of his family. In that moment, Crenshinibon, thirsty for more, absorbed a piece of the Sultan's tormented spirit. It was then that the relic reached its full potential, forever scarred by the traumatic events that marked its early existence. In its wandering, the artifact crossed paths with the enigmatic Illithids, who sought to understand its unique resistance to their mental attacks. Yet even they, masters of psionics, remained beyond the crystal shard's grasp. As the artifact passed from hand to hand, it encountered formidable wielders. Among them was Errtu, the mighty demon who served the 7 liches that created Crenshinibon. When the relic stole the magical essence preserving the liches on death, the ensuing release of energy hurled Errtu back to the abyss. Centuries later, the demon stumbled upon Crenshinibon. Yet, before Errtu could claim it, Dimeneira arrived, banishing the demon to the abyss and attempting to destroy Crenshinibon. The malevolent relic resisted, burning the hands of its would-be destroyer. In his frustration, Dimeneira hurled it across the plains until it came to rest in a snowy dell in the spine of the world mountains on the material plane. And so, the shard of Crenshinibon found 6 more owners in the spine of the world, from the devil Illithid who formed armies with its influence, to the bumbling wizard in training Akar Kessel who nearly enslaved an entire region with its power. It was in the heat of battle atop Kelvin's cairn that Kessel met his fiery end at the hands of the famed drow ranger Driz Doerden. Later, a dwarf cleric named Stumpet Rakenclaw briefly held the relic, but remained untouched by its manipulative magic due to her unwavering moral code. The shard quickly eluded her, calling upon Errtu as its next master, until Drist and Wolfgar banished him once more to the abyss. A drow named Jarlaxle, using cunning trickery, obtained the shard from Drist, carving his place in the city of Kalanport. Jarlaxle's lieutenant Rai Guy believed he could master the relic's power, leading to a conflict that allowed the cunning assassin Artemis Entreri to seize the artifact. Artemis Entreri, through sheer willpower, resisted the crystal shard's dark influence and sought a way to destroy it. In the end, the malevolent relic met its demise when the red dragon Hephaestus, tricked by Jarlaxle, breathed fire upon it within a globe of magical darkness. Yet, the shard's necromantic energy lingered, transforming Hephaestus into a Dracolic and an Illithid's corpse into a ghost, who compelled Hephaestus to fuse with the shard. This unholy union became a sentient conduit between the realms of the living and the dead, known as the Ghost King. It fled to the Shadowfell, pursued by Caterly Bonajus, the only one who could prevent its escape. And so we wait to see what other plans the future might hold for the Crystal Shard. There are rumors of shards of rock known as Chardalin with peculiar properties, but that is another mystery for another day. If you found this tale of Crenshinibon informative, don't forget to hit like and subscribe.